Melly, Defiance area, beautiful. You know, Springfield has this reputation in the Ozarks, and rightly so, of being the most beautiful part of the state. And it is. If you get down around Branson, Hollister, Table Rock's gorgeous.
Sure.
I will tell you this. It's funny. I was away for 4 years. The first 2 years coming back to town, I felt like a visitor. I almost felt like I was no longer a St. Louis.
Wow.
The last 2 years, I've really felt, and maybe it's because I always knew I'd be one and done with a contract and back after 4 years. Mm-hmm. But now I really feel like I'm coming back home and I'm driving around my town and I belong here. Driving in from St. Charles. And by the way, the civil engineers that constructed 94 and 364, kudos to you. Kudos to you.
I don't get out there very often.
It
good
runs
road,
great.
Moves
there are times
well.
where it's 5 lanes on 364.
I've got some complaints about some road work, but I was going to have that for later.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not there. I'm sure that road is
there
great.
are beautiful places in St. Charles County.
Yeah.
I grew up in St. Louis County. We didn't venture into. I used to think that Six Flags was a trip to Kansas City when I was a kid. When I moved back in '94, my mother suggested, "Hey, you ought to go out to Wild Horse Creek Road." Wild Horse Creek Road, Mom. That's the end of the universe.
Yeah,
well, we ended up building our first house when we got married in 2000 on Wild Horse Creek Road.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, you don't have to go to the outer reaches, and believe me, they're beautiful in Wentzville and Forestell, the outer reaches of St. Charles County, to appreciate what great vistas there are and great properties there are all across St. Charles County.
Yeah. I mean, out there in Defiance, too, is that where they had some of the wineries?
Oh, absolutely. There's
there
are
some
wineries out
there.
They start out there, absolutely.
Yeah, great.
The only downside to that is a lot of 2-lane, windy, twisty roads.
Yes, I did notice that the last time I was out there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of straight roads.
No.
Harder to drive around.
Correct. So, anyway, that's my take on St. Charles County. I'm kind of, the last few years, really discovering it. You know.
So you're moving back
Besides
here.
the golf courses. The only reason I used to drive into St. Charles County were really the golf courses. Yeah.
You're moving back here to St. Louis.
Correct.
Are you going to make your pitch to move back out there
Don't know.
into St. Charles and Defiance?
A lot of it depends on what I'll be doing and if anything. And, you know, it does change the equation. When you work downtown at the foot of the arch and on the riverbanks, you don't want to live.
You want to live a little closer to that.
Closer in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wasn't that close. I was in Far West County.
Right.
But anyway, news broke yesterday afternoon, and you heard it on the McGraw Show. John Kelly out as play-by-play man for the Blues. This has nothing to do with John's performance. This has nothing to do with John's popularity. As you can tell, if anybody's been on social media and listened to
It's
radio,
been a lot of outpouring of support.
Of course.
For John.
John's top flight. And this is not, what I'm going to say about John is in no way reflective of Chris Kerber. All too often in our society now, we interpret or we take the step of a compliment to somebody is a insult or a slap to somebody else. I think the world of Chris Kerber.
Mm-hmm.
For 25 years, he has bled, lived, and breathed Blue. A fantastic play-by-play guy. And in time, we'll get used to it. Just like people who still follow the Rams after 2015 got used to J.B. Long calling games instead of Steve Savard.
Right.
Just like people got used to Corey Stark delivering the 6 and 10 news on KMOV instead of Steve Savard. We all adjust. But this is tough. On the heels of Panger leaving for some fans after 14 years, 2 years ago, this is tough. And I think a lot of people are upset about it. This is not in any way tied to his performance. It's just streamlining. It's going to continue to happen where sports properties, the broadcast, get streamlined and more simulcasting. It will create some problems. It won't be smooth sailing all the time, particularly, I think, on the radio, because television will take priority.
Right.
But the thing that I really respected about John, first of all, you don't have to be a big hockey fan to understand what the Kelly name means in St. Louis. Dan Kelly educated me and 2 or 3 generations, or maybe one other generation, about hockey when the Blues came to town in the late 60s. For my money, he's the greatest play-by-play guy in the sport ever, and I'm biased. John isn't a guy that just followed in his footsteps lazily and cashed in on his name. John is a fantastic broadcaster, and let me dive into from one guy that did play-by-play to another. Now, I did radio play-by-play exclusively. One of my big beefs with television play-by-play guys is they let the visuals do all the work for them. They're not on the action. They're too interested in telling stories. Yes, there are times to tell a story where it's relevant to what's going on in the hockey, on the ice. But John never let the action lag. And his work complemented what we watched for 20 years. He was always on the right call, never had false, fake energy, always had the great calls. I just think he's a fantastic play-by-play guy. He didn't have to be that good and work that hard with the name Kelly in St. Louis, but he
Right.
did.
And he was about 20 years, right?
20 years.
As play-by-play.
And before that, we were treated to years of great play-by-play on TV from the great Ken Wilson, too.
Right. Great voice.
Oh, Ken Wilson was fantastic. We have been so lucky between, Dan Kelly on down the line and Chris Kerber as well.
No, like you said, it's not a slight. Chris Kerber is great at what he
and
does.
he'll do a great
he'll
job, and we'll all adjust to it.
Yeah.
But we will miss John Kelly in interim. If I know John, somebody had Carl Middleman leaving the studio after the McGraw show said he's already tweeted out. I couldn't find it. But he already tweeted out, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I don't know John. John and I aren't great friends, but we are Parkway North compatriots.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cradle of Broadcasting, Randy Carricker as well.
I guess it is.
Andy
yeah.
Strickland.
Wow. Anyone else or just those four? Even with those four,
Probably
that's a lot
missing
of
somebody.
broadcasters from one high school.
One high school in a relatively short period of time.
Right. Yeah.
Andy's a
little younger.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
I just
The other three old men.
Yeah.
But, John's a class guy, and what I'm thinking is today he's thinking to himself, and he knew this was coming. We're told about it, but he knew beforehand. I don't know how much advance notice he had. If I know John, he's saying how fortunate he was to have 20 years calling Blues games, following in his father's footsteps.
Right.
And creating his own legacy here in St. Louis. Again, he could have been lazy and say, no, I'm going to cash in on the name. Not John's style.
Yeah.
So much respect for him. Good luck to the broadcast moving forward. I think Curbs and Joey Vitale will do a great job. Love Curbs to death.
Yeah.
But we'll miss John in the interim for sure.
Absolutely. I didn't really run into John that often, but once or twice I did, and he was very nice to someone he didn't need to be. I'm not some big name or anything, and he was a really nice guy. So that's my memory of him.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Does not surprise me. And when I had a radio show on another station after I left KMOV, John was a regular contributor to it, always available and always a great interview. And I used to have a lot of fun because I knew the backstories and, going back and talking about his dad. And he takes a lot of pride. He beams when he talks about his father.
Right.
And what he meant to him and what he meant to not just the St. Louis hockey community, but the national hockey community. And before he came to St. Louis, he was a massive name in Canada. And still very well respected. You talk to anybody in Canada who really knows the game, and they'd say he's top 5 all-time play-by-play guy. I would say he's number 1.
Okay.
Dan. All right, coming up on the show, and we'll get to your text. In fact, some of you are saying that FanDuel made a big mistake. They did John Kelly wrong. We'll get to more of your text later in the show, later this hour. The Royal Banks of Missouri text line is 84126. Coming up, we are going to get some movie reviews from Lynn Venhouse and a couple of really good recommendations for you this weekend or any weekend. Howard Richards will join us for our weekly talk here on Friday. Coming up next, though, our opening dialogue, some thoughts I have, random thoughts. You're listening to the Frank and Jill Show without Frank or Jill here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, it's Jill Farmer for the Salvation Army. Tonight is our first movie night with Finding Nemo here at Westport Plaza starting at 6 p.m. Come out and help support the Salvation Army as we collect toys for the Angel Tree Toy Town. It distributes toys every Christmas to thousands and thousands of kids in need right here in St. Louis. Bring a new unwrapped toy to donate and receive free popcorn. Louie, the Blues mascot, is going to be here from 6 to 7 p.m. Also games, food, drink, fun for all. It's going to be a really great event, and you're going to be doing great things to help support the Salvation Army here in St. Louis.
It's Julie Buck here for Dents Express STL. Let's talk about a live and local company that is really doing an incredible job. Let's shine a spotlight on this family-owned business. They are fantastic at what they do. And, of course, they fix your car when you have dents. I mean, we've had a lot of hail damage that's gone around lately, and there are some people that like to put it off. Well, don't worry. You can still get this covered, in most cases, under insurance. And our friends at Dents Express, STL, will actually take care of the paperwork for you because that's one of the things that I feel like deters people from getting that repair done. But do it. Get your car back to looking good, making your ride look smooth. Also minor collision repairs, Dents Express STL, and they do want you to make an appointment. That's the best thing to do. It's just to make an appointment. You can simply do that online or you can call them. Find out more on their website. It's dentsexpressstl.com with 2 locations, one in St. Charles and one in Baldwin.
Hi, this is Stuart Rosenblum, president of Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie! Mortgages are the biggest investment that a person's going to make in their life, yet most people don't know anything about it. Tune in for Mortgages and More with Stewie. That's me, where we can go over all the different types of mortgage programs in simple terms. You, me, Stewie! You'll become an expert after the first show.
Listen to Mortgages and More with Stewie, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KTRS.
Do you love pickleball? Experience Major League Pickleball right here in St. Louis, July 17th through the 20th at Chavis Arena. Feel the energy as the world's best teams battle it out for first place. Every serve, rally, and point. It's electric. It's more than a match. Enjoy great food, fun activities, and an exciting family-friendly atmosphere. Meet the stars, get autographs, and see all the action up close. Tickets are limited, so get them now at MLPSTL.com. That's MLPSTL.com. Major League Pickleball.
There is nothing else like it.
Hi, Matt Kearns, president of St. Lou Fringe. Grab a festival pass and meet me August 11th through 17th at STL Fringe Fest 25 to experience original music like What They Taught Me, a musical cabaret by tribute vocal artist Brother John, all the way from KC, and Voyage, a live visual album by Sarah Saturday, all the way from Nashville. Or you can choose to walk in the dark with St. Louis's favorite country singer-songwriter, Eric Keating. Grab passes and tickets for STL Fringe Fest today, and I'll see you at the Fringe, stlfringe.org.
The Stages St. Louis season continues. Austin Pride, a new take on Jane Austen's classic Pride and Prejudice. Single tickets on sale now. Visit stagesstlewis.org. In downtown Kirkwood, stagesstlewis.org. Foundation cracks come in many different shapes and sizes, vertical, horizontal, diagonally. Is that crack just a crack, or is that crack going to lead to a leak? You need to know the answer. Hi, everybody. McGraw Millhaven here for Cornerstone Structural Repair and Waterproofing. Who do you call? Who can you trust? Cornerstone Structural Repair and Waterproofing. Call my friend Dale. He is the industry leader. They will accurately assess and fix your crack permanently. 314-262-6277 or stlouisfoundationrepair.com.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS.
Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
No Frank, no Jill on the Frank and Jill Show. Steve Savard with you today, solo for the next hour and 38 minutes. Well, not solo. Connor McCarthy is in the co-pilot seat.
Riding along.
You know, I've done 6 shows here since May,
Really?
and all 6
I've been
have
here.
been with you.
Yeah, as it happened.
You
There
are
was
becoming
yeah,
must-have sidekick for me.
I guess so.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I told you earlier. I told you the first day I was here, you were sharp and do your job well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I'll even be here for one of the days you're here filling in for McGraw. But
Okay,
not,
yeah,
but not all
Carl
the days.
Carl looks sketchy to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I
Carl.
hope he's
I'm not
listening
sure.
out
I
there.
hope he's listening. He's walking down the hall. Yeah, Carl looks
He
a little
hears it.
sketchy. I'm not really sure that we're gonna. And by the way, that's 4 hours of radio, right?
I know, yeah.
McGraw,
Yeah.
the week of the 28th.
This is kind of your work in the cages here, and then you're going to go out and have to,
A Rams broadcast was 3.
Yeah.
3.5 with overtime.
yeah.
McGraw
No,
does 4. McGraw,
he
you're the
does
man.
4.
You're an Iron Man.
every day.
Much respect. Opening dialogue. You know, I thanked you. You know, one of my pet peeves in television news is when, and I fell victim to it for a while, but in the last maybe 15, 20 years to it, I really got away from it. Thank you. When you throw, the reporter comes back, thank you. Or the weather person, your meteorologist finishes the forecast, thank you. All right, thank you, thank you. Can you imagine if at a grocery store, you know, the employees, as you check out, the guy, the kid bagging your groceries thanks the cashier for getting it right every time you walk out? Why are we so pretentious in television news? It was always, in the last few years, it was always okay. Or, you know, I'd find a way to say, all right.
You went away from the thank yous.
I went away from thank you. It seemed way
Okay.
too gratuitous. But what's going on this week at KSTK, and I can say this sincerely, they're celebrating Mike Bush's 40 years, and they're thanking him. 40 years at one TV station. You know, the irony of this is, so I competed against Mike, obviously, in sports for a few years, and then we shared, and then the news. And Mike became the first, Art Holiday was the first true sports guy to go full-time news anchoring, but that was in the morning. Mike was the first to really make the transition in prime time. we shared broadcast duties. The 1 year Mike did play-by-play, 99. I was on the pregame. I did halftime, did some sideline reporting, and it went smoothly. I was respectful of the job Mike had to do. We've always been very respectful of one another. But 40 years, I watched Mike when I was in college at Northwest Missouri State in Maryville, Missouri. It's an hour and a half north of Kansas City. We got Channel 9 in Kansas City. I was a journalism and English major. I was not a broadcasting major then. It was a far distant thought. But I grew up in St. Louis, and I knew good broadcasting. I mean, I knew what good broadcasting sounded like on the radio, and I knew what it looked like on TV. And even as a 21 and 22-year-old, even my roommates and I, we used to say that we knew he was young. I think he was 25, 26, 27 in Kansas City at the time. We said, that guy's pretty good, man. He's young. I think the story goes he got bumped by Len Dawson. You know, when Len Dawson owned Kansas City, he was Super Bowl MVP. He decided that he was going to be sports director. I think it worked out just fine for Mike. It would have been better for me and the rest of us if Mike had stayed in Kansas City.
And what 40 years? I think
40 years.
I think it's worked out pretty well for
So
Mike.
congratulations to him.
Yeah. Congratulations and thank you to Mike Bush.
That's the one. Exactly. You're in my mind. Now it's appropriate.
Yes.
Now it's appropriate. Not because you turned a minute and a half story like you were supposed to.
Right.
Thank you. I think it's okay sometimes.
That's the Steve Savard line. 40 years.
Well,
no.
No. Like, for example, during the protests, Mike Brown protests and the unrest, those nights when our reporters literally donned gas masks because of tear gas and everything, yeah, thank yous is appropriate.
That's a thank you.
There's some other thank yous. It's not an absolute. But do I make some sense here?
You make some sense.
So if I'm going to thank you, if it gets too much and gratuitous, slap me around a little bit.
Okay. I'll take away the thank you just in case.
We talked a little bit about yesterday the what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs, and with our political science professor from UMSL, Anita Mannion. Didn't talk a lot about it. The state has set aside money to try to keep the Chiefs in Missouri.
Chiefs and Royals, and
Chiefs
I believe
and Royals.
the money could also be used by the Cardinals. I believe that's how it works.
And there's also a clawback clause that states that they got to repay whatever money if they ever do cross. I don't know if they ever, but there's a statute of limitations crossing the state lines. Now it creates 50% of revenue for a new stadium. Kansas first upped the ante by passing legislation that would pay up to 70%. They want the Chiefs to cross. Here's the good news for the Chiefs fans. Nobody has to worry about them leaving the market.
Right. They're going to, it's not even a river over there, really. It's, you cross the state line, you're still there.
They're in Johnson. They'd be in Johnson County.
If the Rams moved to Belleville,
exactly,
I wouldn't really consider them no longer in St. Louis.
It wouldn't be a tragedy here.
Right.
No, the owner here was intent on moving them to the number 2 market all the time.
Right.
The good news for the Chiefs fans is that Lamar Hunt's not threatening to move them out. But, as I said before, and I didn't can this phrase, politicians have no welfare for billionaires. I think it makes a lot of sense. Nobody had an appetite here in St. Louis. I want to talk more about this today because we didn't talk much yesterday. Nobody had an appetite 10, 12, 13 years ago as we were trying to build a second stadium. No one outstate had an appetite for our cause. And people remember how hard it was for the Cardinals, an institution in this entire region, to try to get Busch Stadium 3 built. Mark Lamping was on a tour every day for several years to try to get funding for that. The Hunt family, and it's meant a lot to Kansas City, and they've been loyal to Kansas City. Clark Hunt inherited the team from his father. His mother, Norma, actually named the Super Bowl. She was the one responsible for actually calling it the Super Bowl 2 or 3 years into the game.
What did they call it before that?
It was just the AFL NFL Championship. Yeah.
Right.
They're worth $25 billion.
They got a lot of money.
They're worth $25 billion.
I'm not sure they really need money to stay in Kansas City, Missouri, if they want to.
And most people who vote believe that because even in Jackson County, they turned down a tax extension that would have helped pay for a new stadium. So it's still to be determined up there. But it's interesting.
Yeah, I think when this bill, or I think it was part of a larger thing, when the news broke that the legislature passed this, there's a lot of kind of negative reactions here in St. Louis, and I'll consider myself amongst them, because I remember the Rams leaving, and I just don't remember that kind of state backing.
There wasn't.
There wasn't.
They knew better than to put it to a public vote.
So I think, and some people crow at that and say, well, you're being a hypocrite because you, Connor, don't like giving out money to billionaires, which is true. I in general, I wouldn't like that. But the reason there's this kind of negative feeling about it is just because so many people remember that when St. Louis was in this position, we didn't get the backing.
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was conflicted at the time.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I understand the other side of this equation. No way. No way, no
Right.
how.
But if you're going to take that and have, values in a position, 10 years later when there's a different city in the state that wants the money, that
I think
you got to hold to the values.
I've always
Otherwise
believed being
you
called a hypocrite
yeah.
is one of the worst things you could ever call me.
Right.
But you understand why there are evolving opinions, though.
Yeah.
And then, it is the last NFL team left in Missouri. The Rams leaving it does make a difference.
But I don't know how
some.
you feel about this, and you were very connected to the Rams, so maybe you feel the same as me. I don't have any connection to Kansas City. I don't like the Chiefs. Not the city. I'm saying the Chiefs.
Right.
Kansas City Chiefs. I don't have any connection to them. I don't like them. I don't, I watch them when they're on, but I'm not a fan. I didn't become a fan. I don't view, other Missouri's team. I don't care. They're not St. Louis's team. I don't know how you feel about that, but I know there are others like me out there.
This will be unpopular. I have become kind of a Kansas City fan because
you were down in Springfield.
Yes, Springfield is like an extension, but it's not. It's more than that. Even before that, I love Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid is everything that's right about football. Patrick Mahomes, they got a superstar who rarely embarrasses anybody. Rarely he handles himself for as much as the spotlight's on him. For those reasons, I'm not a diehard. Now that I'm going to leave Springfield, I probably won't care and watch the Chiefs again. But I understand completely why people in this neck of the woods would be objecting to the state bending over backwards to help them now. Coming up, we have a lot, including getting to your texts, which continue to come in, including some on this very topic about the Chiefs. Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. Get to them later in the show, later this hour. Howard Richards will join me next. Later, I think I got a pretty good and relevant song of the day for you. A couple of quotes of the day, and we're going to play a little July 11th birthday. I'm going to rip off Rammer and Heidi a little bit.
You're going to play the birthday game.
I'm going to play a little birthday game because you're so good at it. I'm going to tell you, you had such a great
day. But you know the answers now because you're looking
at it. Yeah, but
it.
it's not for me.
Oh, it's okay. It's for
I'm
everyone
going to
else.
test you to see if you really just had a great day when I was here with Rammer that day.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, all that coming up and more on the Frank and Jill Show with Steve Savard right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Scott, remember when the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Pile were flying around the arch selling flooring?
Andrea, that was the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Tile.
Oh, that's right. But we don't need shtick here at Best Buy Flooring.
That's right, because our in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile are already at low, low prices.
Come see us at our 3 area locations, North County, South County, and Metro East. Open 7 days a week.
Plus, free financing on approved credit. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
Springtime is here, so time to clean out those garages, basements, and crawl spaces and list all your items on the Walter Knoll 550 yard sale. And if you're looking to get a great deal on an item that someone just doesn't need anymore, well, turn to the Walter Knoll 550 yard sale. Your one-stop swap shop every Saturday morning, and don't wait until 8. We're on for 2 hours, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. The Walter Knoll 550 yard sale. Perfect for spring cleaning, and let me tell you, the system works.
Are you old school or are you new school? Doesn't really matter, because if you need a hardware store, where do you go? Schnarr's Hardware, and their 2 locations, East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and of course their world headquarters on Clayton Road. You see, Schnarr's Hardware is one of those places where you walk in and you say, this thing broke off my toilet. Do you have one of these? Yeah, follow me. And they take you in the back and you pass 19 different aisles of things that you wish you could stop and look at. And do you need a 3-inch or a 4-inch? I think I need a 3-inch. Great. I'll buy 2 and I'll bring the other one back. That's why Schnarr's Hardware has been so successful. It's the customer service and the attention to detail. Whether you need fertilizer or whether you need something for the kitchen, maybe you need something for the big green egg. 2 locations, 1 great hardware store, Schnarr's Hardware. And yes, the popcorn is always free, as well as the smell. because it smells like a hardware store. East Lockwood and Webster Groves and on Clayton Road in Ladue, Schnars or schnars.com. We'll see you there.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Do you know why right now is the absolute best time to book your new patio or deck with my friends at Outdoor Living? Aside from being the best in town, these guys are really smart. They pay attention to market conditions, and they've stocked up on patio and deck supplies, including steel, all before these tariffs kicked in. So while their competitors' pricing has gone through the roof, prices have never been better at Outdoor Living. Now is the best time to call and book your summer job. Not to mention, these same competitors have sold out to large conglomerates and hedge funds. Pat Leahy and his team remain locally owned and operated, providing the best pricing and the best service in town. So, looking for a new deck or a new fence or anything outdoor? Outdoor Living, 314-966-DECK. That's 314-966-DECK. Or check them out online, Outdoor Living Inc., or check out their great showroom, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood, OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Gingham's Homestyle Restaurant has been a staple in St. Charles for 35 years. Our comfortable, casual atmosphere offers some of the best comfort food you've ever had. Customers might know our delicious breakfast, but you can have whatever you want, anytime you want, with our full menu 24 hours a day. Nothing warms your heart like Gingham's famous vegetable soup, and we can cater your event, too. If you like homestyle food and great friendly service, you'll love Gingham's Restaurant in St. Charles. 636-946 0266 or ginghamsrestaurant.com.
You can count on Cantor. I'm Mark Cantor. When I was 12 years old, I witnessed my father, a pediatric doctor at Cardinal Glennon Hospital, suffer a terrible accident when a large and defective battery exploded in his face. My father went into shock and had to undergo emergency surgery to save his life. While my dad recovered, he hired a lawyer who promised that no one else would be hurt by that company's product, and he filed a lawsuit to make sure no one did. I love my dad, and what he went through inspired me to become a lawyer and to start Cantor Injury Law. Like my father, I serve the St. Louis community, and I have done so for over 30 years. You can count on Cantor to treat you like family, to understand your case and your injury, and to fight for you. You can count on Cantor to help make things right. Visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or find us on Facebook or call us at 314-628-9999. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision, should not be based solely upon advertisement, so call Cantor.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
We've got some July summer sizzle in the forecast today as we push the temperature up to about 96 this afternoon. And with humidity fairly high, I think the heat index will top out around 102. Be careful out there. Meanwhile, a spot thunder shower possible, but odds are pretty low, only around 20% that you actually get wet. Overnight tonight, though, we'll be watching some weakening thunderstorms coming in from the northwest. I think these things taper off and eventually die off completely somewhere in the listening area, down to 75 for the low. But then another batch of scattered thunderstorms develops Saturday afternoon, so not an all-day rain here, but let's be ready for some wet weather. Not as hot tomorrow. Saturday's high at 90. About a 30% chance of rain and storms on Sunday with a high of 87. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Bill Huey Lewis in the news as we come back here on the Frank and Jill Show. Steve Savard, Connor McCarthy with you, sitting in for Frank and Jill. You know, some guys, you think you build your resume, you think it's pretty good. And then some guys just slap you around when you look at this. I mean, take our next guest here, our regular Friday guest, Howard Richards. Okay, let's start with, All-State in football. All-American in Mizzou. Number 1, first-round draft pick in the NFL. 7 years in the NFL as a starting offensive tackle. Gets done with that, transitions to a 13-year career with the CIA. Who does that? And when he's done with that, he comes back home, and now he's a staple on his alma mater's broadcast, a great broadcast with Mike Kelly and Chris Gervino, Mizzou football. Jeez Louise. I can't even believe I'm friends with this guy. I can't even believe he hangs out with me, but he's going to spend some time with us because he's contracted to. He does it every Friday with Frank and Jill. I'm talking about Howard Richards. H, how you doing?
And I'm doing great. And first of all, thank you for the complimentary words. Those are all nice things. And I will say this: we've gotten to know each other over the years, and I have the utmost respect for you and what you've done, certainly at KOMV. KMOX. I can't say that. I'm still used to saying KMOX TV.
Well, 7 years in the NFL, and we did play with it. We did play with air helmets in that era.
Exactly. But I will say this: what a lot of people don't realize about Steve Savard is that we were teammates for a brief period. Steve tried out for the Cowboys, got hurt, but I used to watch him, and I knew who Steve was, of course, from playing at Northwest Missouri. And I was certainly pulling for you, man. I wanted as many in-state Missouri guys on the Cowboys team as possible. And unfortunately, you hurt that knee and decided smartly to pursue another career. So
well, I love it.
I was going to say I'm envious because I always wanted to be a broadcaster as my primary career. I didn't plan to do any of this other stuff outside of football.
Well, I appreciate it, but it was a neck, and it finished me off for me. But I did my better work than my second training camp before I got hurt. You were already moved on to Seattle at that time, but I appreciate the kind words. I have nothing but respect for you as well. In fact, that team, that '86 Cowboys team, had a lot of St. Louis, Mizzou flavor. 40% of the offensive line, when you count Kurt Peterson at guard, from St. Louis and from Mizzou. Ron Fellows from Mizzou. Victor Scott, the safety from East St. Louis, who played at Colorado. Why couldn't I have made a fifth? It could have been great. It could have been something. Anyway, a lot of St. Louis and Mizzou flavor on that '86 Cowboys team. No question.
Indeed.
Hey, you transitioned. I'm interested in this. You were a number one pick in 1981. Okay. Somewhere along the line, you knew that you needed to do something after sports, because being a number one pick in 1981 is not the same as being a number one pick in 2021 or 2025 and playing 7 years in the NFL as a starting offensive tackle. Jack Snow used to work at Montgomery Ward back in the 60s in the offseason preparing for life after football if broadcasting didn't come around. He was a number one pick in both the AFL and NFL, so times were different. At what point did you know you needed something else when you finished playing in the NFL?
Believe it or not, I worked a couple of jobs really to sort of help me transition into the real world once my football career ultimately ended. I worked trying to sell oil leases in the oil and gas industry one off season, and then another off season I kind of worked in retail video sales, selling equipment. Now, I didn't do it because I needed to, but I wanted to get a taste of what real work was like. I was sort of a forward thinker, because you had heard, many of us had heard about, the trials and tribulations of players post sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever the case may be. So I wanted to be prepared for the eventual date that I was no longer going to be wearing a helmet. And so I got some insight, I also took and passed the real estate salesperson exam back in '84. I did a lot in '84. Didn't practice real estate, but I got the foundation of learning about the real estate industry that far back, along with another teammate, James Jones. But that really I think really sort of set the stage for me. I've been involved in real estate sales and some development, for many, many years, especially when I lived in Washington, D.C. After leaving CIA. So to this day, I still have, I say, professionally speaking, real estate is probably my second love next to football.
We have that in common, and I'm actually probably going to go ahead and get my real estate license. I've always had that as a second love, and I'm very interested. I wish I had more entrepreneurial spirit. The process of building homes and all that is fascinating to me. But you've also transitioned after leaving the CIA to something you love. That's your alma mater in Mizzou and broadcasting football. It's a great broadcast with Mike Kelly and Chris Gervino. It really, really is. And I know that you're getting ready for another season. It's hard for you as a broadcaster before camp starts to know exactly the way it's going to unfold because of the transfer portal, because of NIL money, name, image, likeness, for those that are not in tune with that. Players are now being paid in some cases up to millions of dollars even before they strap on a helmet for their university. It's changed things. I don't want to get too deep into the X's and O's here about Mizzou, but the general consensus is there's going to be a transition period without the reliable quarterback Brady Cook stepping back in. And while the offense struggles or at least adjusts to get its footing, the expectations are Mizzou's defense should carry the day. You see it that way?
Should and actual are two different things, as you know. I mean, there have been years when we think the offense is going to be the side of the ball that really carries his team. Much like last year, I thought I, like many others, thought this is going to be an explosive team. They're going to score a ton of points, and it didn't work out that way, even with the experience that they had. So I am cautious about what side of the ball I think is going to be more ready earlier in the season rather than later. But I think the general consensus is that this defense probably will be the unit, or probably should be the unit that will be most ready, especially with the uncertainty of who's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
But they've got some horses that are going to be on that defensive side of the ball. You know, Zion Young returns at defensive end. Damon Wilson, who is just amazing, even though he got hurt. Not Damon Wilson. Darius Smith, who got hurt in training camp last year. But I've heard so many great things about him, and the little bit of time that I had to observe him, he's going to be an animal. You've got Josiah Trotter, a transfer whose dad played a number of years on great defenses with the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Marvin Burks Jr., who so much is expected of him. He's had a pretty good career thus far with Missouri. Tristan Newsome has been really good. Dalen Carnell is going to be one of the leaders on this team at they call it the star position. Really, it's the third linebacker, strong safety position. So I think the most experienced players will be on that side of the ball. That said, they've got some playmakers on offense, and if quarterback can be established, regardless of whether it's Fribula or Sam Horn or freshman Matt Zollers, it should be an interesting team to watch this year. I think they're probably going to be their strongest and fastest team that Eli Drinkwitz has ever had.
All right, looking forward to that. Howard Richards, always a pleasure to catch up with you, big man. And I did some math on this NIL money, excuse me, that you may have been privy to by today's standards. As an all-stater, a blue chipper, a guy who was a multi-year starter, all Big Eight, All-American, developed into a first-round pick, I'm guessing you would have made $1 million to $2 million in NIL money at Mizzou by today's standards, today's money, and I bet that would have outsized your signing bonus and your contract, even though you were a number one pick in 1981.
About by 10 times.
My, how times have changed, but you've done great for yourself, Howard. Always a pleasure. Look forward to having a longer conversation very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Good talking to you.
All right. That's the H-Man, Howard Richards, checking in with us. We're going to get to your text next. We got a bunch of good text to get to. Our Royal Banks of Missouri text line, 84126. Whatever we don't get to here at the end of the 10 o'clock hour, we'll try to get to them at the end of the 11 o'clock hour. This is the Frank and Jill Show. Steve Savard pinch hitting today here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Diana from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
When you go and get your car washed, do you really care which car wash you go to? Yes, because not all car washes are created equal. Country Club Car Wash is the local family-owned and family-operated car wash since 1989. All these other ones that are popping up, they're all run by out-of-town hedge funds. Keep it local. Keep it great. Touchless car washes, no brushes, inside and out. 5 area locations, Country Club Car Wash or cccwstl.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Lang. Join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 on the Big 550 for Animal Talk, where I talk about everything regarding dogs, cats, and other domestic animals. Topics include nutrition, training, medical checkups, special guests show up now and then, and of course, I'll answer your questions. So join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 for Animal Talk on the Big 550 KTRS, the Animal Talk of St. Louis.
Have you recently retired and lost your sense of purpose? It happens. How about an opportunity to reconnect with the community? You should consider a part-time or even a full-time position with the Rockwood School District. You see, Rockwood School District is actively looking to fill part-time and substitute positions. Bus drivers, cafeteria workers, groundskeepers, and more. They offer outstanding benefits, a positive and caring working environment, competitive pay, flexible hours as well as shifts, signing bonuses, and an opportunity to work with kids. And if you're hired full-time, you can enroll your kids in the Rockwood School District even if you don't live in the district. The application process is easy. No resumes required. Just go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs. Reconnect with the community and find a new purpose with the Rockwood School District. rsdmo.org/jobs.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon on the Big 550 KTRS.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Another good one here. Connor McCarthy, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Philip Bailey.
Yeah.
Philip Bailey went on. He had a great single with, I'm trying to remember, with Phil Collins a little bit later. I'm trying to remember the name of that. Somebody will remember it on our Royal Banks of text line. We're going to get to your text right now. 84126. We got another hour coming up, so if we don't get to something now, we'll try to get to it later.
That's Easy Lover.
Easy Lover.
With Phil Collins.
Good song.
Great song.
With Philip Bailey. Yep. That's Connor McCarthy. I'm Steve Savard. Frank and Joel are off today. What would you do if you weren't in the media? It's a good question. Right now, probably sell real estate. Not the ideal time to go into real estate.
Well, yeah, you could probably do that right now.
Well,
you got some free time. You know, we're going to see the Savard Realty.
Well, I'm not going to. I didn't say I'm going to open my brokerage. Nobody's that dumb. Give me enough money to do that, but maybe I can bang out a living doing it. I just have like Howard. I have an intense interest in real estate. Steve, do you like news or sports better? Two different. I would say this: when I make the transition full time, last 13 years, 12 years. There's no question I enjoyed being a news anchor on television more than a sports anchor. I love my time in sports, but for me, that ran its course. But if you get me talking sports with the right people, there's nothing better on radio. If that makes sense. We were talking about the drive-in and the job of the civil engineers of the roadways in St. Charles, and somebody agrees with me saying 364 was a game changer.
Oh. I had a little bit on the I wanted to 270 and this construction. Mm-hmm. You see it coming in a little bit.
I saw it coming in the other day.
You see it a lot leaving. I want to tell the people, if you don't know, it's down a lane north and southbound at 270 at 64. The amount of people that ride in the exit lane because they think it's the lane and then have to get over, it causes so much traffic every day. It's like they've never ridden on this road
heed
before.
The sign.
Please listen to me. So I don't go
no,
crazy.
not Heed the Sign. Heed Connor McCarthy
so
specifically.
So I don't go crazy every day driving
that's
home.
That's a little God complex-ish.
I
there,
just,
Connor.
I need to get the word out because clearly people don't realize that this lane is ending.
Frustrating when that happens.
That
Just
was
be
my
glad
little...
you don't have Springfield drivers. Look, there are a lot of things to like about Springfield, Missouri. The driving down there is not one of them.
Really?
No.
Okay.
My son just got married in Herman last weekend, talking about the beauty of St. Charles County. Beautiful, beautiful country. I have property in Crawford County, also beautiful, beautiful. A lot of people weighing in on the John Kelly decision. The Blues letting John Kelly go, changing. That's not even accurate. The Blues and FanDuel restructuring their broadcast to have a simulcast. Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale will take care of both radio and TV at the same time. This texter writes, Panger was the best, dumbest move ever. What's your take on simulcasting TV, radio? We both talked about it. There'll be some growing pains. TV is going to have to take priority as far as the X's and O's, and then I think you'll notice a little bit of it on radio, but you'll get used to it. That's my take. FanDuel made a big mistake. They did John Kelly wrong. A couple of people reacting to what I said about people get used to, even Rams fans that still enjoyed the Rams when they moved to L.A. got used to me not calling the games. They get used to me not giving them the news on Channel 4. Somebody said I hung in there during COVID and they let me go. Ridiculous. I appreciate that very much. We love Steve and Connor, by the way. They love you.
Thank you.
As I said before, it was a 100-year pandemic. It was just a set of extraordinary circumstances that the parent company decided to sell all 19 TV stations, and their decision overrode local. So what are you going to do? That's not real adversity. Real adversity is what happened to people in St. Louis and May getting wiped out by a tornado. Real adversity happens right now in the doctor's office when people are getting diagnosed with ALS, and it was just a minor setback. What a treat having Steve on today. My friend Bob Frischman. You're the best, Bob. Thank you. I have many relatives in Springfield, Missouri. They've always been Chiefs and Royals fans. Yes, the Cardinals are big down there. Obviously, there's a AA team down there. But it is Chiefs country. Does Andy Reid's son work for the Chiefs after his release from prison? No, he does not. I have a huge disdain for the Chiefs because of their television prowess. There are always better contests. But, yeah, that's the regional choice these days. A lot of people don't like that. They're more about – we'll get to more of these about building stadiums for billionaires.
I think most of them were negative. I don't know if we have any positive.
No, very negative.
I want to use tax money to build a stadium.
Yeah.
Texts.
How do you feel about
Maybe
streaming sports? I can't stand it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Hey, Steve, so good to hear your voice. Appreciate it. Glad you're back in St. Louis. Not full time yet, but working on it very much. Coming up in the next hour, though, right after the break, we're going to check in with Lynn Venhouse. She's going to give us a first-run movie that you have to see, and she has very strong recommendation for this. And one that's been off the radar here for about 12 years that says, if you got some time, you should watch it. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text BOSS to 321321. That's BOSS to 321321. BOSS to 321321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
If it's soccer in St. Louis, it's talked about on the soccer voice in St. Louis.
The Big 550
KTRS.
St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump will get a first-hand view of the flood-devastated Hill Country in Texas today. At least 121 people lost their lives 1 week ago when catastrophic flooding hit along the Guadalupe River. The search for more than 160 still missing continues. Survivors and those displaced are beginning the recovery process. ABC's Trevor Ault is in Kerrville.
Residents begin returning with those deadly waters now receded. One couple surviving by hanging onto a pillar just outside their door.
We just held on for a couple more hours.
Finding their wedding rings in the debris.
Questions remain about the lack of early warning systems across the region. Canada in the crosshairs again after President Trump announced the key trading partner will face a 35% tariff on imports effective August 1st. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
The president insisting that Canada has not done enough to crack down on the fentanyl crisis. Last year, less than 1% of the fentanyl seized came from Canada. Overnight, the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, saying they're making progress on that.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signaling he believes a Gaza and hostage release deal could be reached within days. Hamas demanding Israeli forces fully withdraw. ABC's James Longman has more.
The main issue, as far as we can tell, is the issue around what happens when a ceasefire comes to an end. Hamas wants, at the beginning of the conversation, they want the deal to be, after that 60-day period, then peace, then the end of the war. The Israelis say, no, we will start the 60 days, and during that time, we will then negotiate how this war ends. So it sounds like a subtle difference, but it is fundamental.
A restaurant set to open in Dubai will have the world's first AI chef. That chef trained on thousands of recipes. Humans will still need to assemble and taste test the food. You're listening to ABC News.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Taiwan has launched the biggest military drill in its history. That drill is supposed to help and make sure it's prepared against any attack, especially one from China that has vowed to bring the island back into its fold. ABC's Britt Clinton is in Taiwan and says the island nation has been looking at the Russia-Ukraine for the strategy.
They're going for this asymmetric warfare. They think that is key. If they can't, outpower their opponents, they're going to need to outsmart them. That means establishing drones that can be made quickly, relatively cheaply, that are expendable, highly destructive, that kind of thing. So the idea is to use smaller, cheaper, mobile weapons which can still pack a punch.
22,000 reservists are taking part in this drill. A California man, 40-year-old Greg Jackson, under arrest in Sonoma County for impersonating police officer. ABC's Cornell Barnard has more.
Jackson was reportedly using a vehicle outfitted with red and blue emergency lights, similar to those on legit police cars. Investigators say he was identifying himself as a bounty hunter. The sheriff's department tells ABC News Jackson from Santa Rosa was out on felony pretrial release on concealed weapons charges, adding, during a search of his home and vehicle, they found several items that falsely identified him as a police officer.
On Wall Street, stocks are down in afternoon trading. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This is KTRS St. Louis, Talk of St. Louis. I'm Jim Fairchild. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has signed a repeal of a law guaranteeing paid sick leave for workers and inflationary adjustments to the minimum wage. We'll get more on that from KTRS's Jill Enders.
The repeal is set to take effect on August 28th. Workers' rights advocates call it a betrayal, while business groups argue that the policies hurt job growth. Voters in Missouri, Nebraska, and Alaska all approved paid sick leave measures last November. Alaska's requirement kicked in on July 1st, but lawmakers in Nebraska revised the measure before it could take effect coming this October. Missouri workers began earning paid sick leave on May 1st, but unused leave will not be guaranteed after the repeal date. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer has unveiled the city's plan for nearly $20 million in tornado relief funds. Spencer says money from the RAM settlement will go toward home rentals and rent assistance, and also provide support for nonprofits, provide meals and supplies for tornado victims. The Missouri Veterans Commission has unveiled its first suicide prevention program report, and we have more on that from KTRS's Steve Potter.
The Commission will now report each year on strategies to prevent veteran suicide in Missouri. A key finding in this first report is the ongoing battle about the stigma surrounding mental health issues and the struggle that vets face reaching out for help. The report details how veterans face higher risks of suicide compared with non-veterans. The report calls it a shocking statistic that more than 42 out of every 100,000 Missouri vets died by suicide in 2022, which is significantly higher than the national average. The report also details strategies that the Missouri Veterans Commission plans to implement to help reduce those numbers in the future. You can find the full report on the Commission's website. Steve Potter, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Noel Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. On Wall Street right now, Dow Jones Industrial Average has lost 327 points at 44,323. NASDAQ also down by 22 points at 20,607. S&P 500 has dropped 22. It sits right now at 6,258. In KTRS Sports, St. Louis City SC looks to snap a 5-match winless streak when they take on Portland at home on Sunday night. City's lost to the Timbers back on June 8th by a score of 2-1. Forecast for today calls for a hot day today, high of 95 degrees. Heat index values as high as 101 or higher. Tonight, there is a chance of rain, about 40% chance, mainly after 11 p.m. tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 73. 50-50 chance of rain tomorrow, mostly sunny otherwise with a high of 88 degrees. Tomorrow night, some rain is possible with a low of 72. And on Sunday, we have a chance of rain again, mainly after 1 p.m., partly sunny skies with a high of 87 degrees. Right now we have 92 degrees and partly sunny skies. I'm Jim Fairchild, KTRS News.
Millard Furniture, St. Louis's home for American-made furniture, presents Lynn Venhouse Goes to the Movies.
Let's go to the movies.
On the Big 550, KTRS.
Let's get some popcorn and milk duds going here. Welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show. They're off today. Steve Savard with you, along with Connor McCarthy as my co-pilot. And we are going to visit with Lynn Venhouse from PopLifeSTL.com for her regular Friday segment. Lynn, thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited this week because this is the summer blockbuster that we need and we wanted.
You talking about me hosting this show?
Sure.
Oh, you're talking about Superman at the theater.
Yeah, Superman. But you are a Superman.
No. I didn't do that for that, but thank you. You're very kind. By the way, every guest should be. You sent me the most detailed look at what movies you wanted to talk about, and it makes my life so easy. And we are going to talk first about Superman because you are effusive about how good this is. In fact, you write in your review, the result is the best Superman film since Superman 2 in 1982. and the best on-screen characterization of both the man and the myth since Christopher Reeve donned the red cape.
Yes, because he's the GOAT. He is the gold standard.
More than George Reeves?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because, if you think
I had to
about
throw
it.
that out, Connor.
I know. Well, that's the one we grew up on,
Right.
George Reeves. But when you saw Christopher Reeve, first of all, that was the first superhero on screen, 1978, and he was taking a big gamble. And he was a stage actor, and he was telling people, like in the documentary about Christopher Reeve, Jeff Daniels said we were in a play, William Hurt and everything, and he said, I've got this audition in London for a super, and William Hurt was trying to talk him out of it. Oh, you don't want to sell out, and he's like, well, Marlon Brando's going to be my dad, and blah, blah, blah. And then he got the role, and it was so iconic for him, and then they've tried to reboot this multiple times,
Right.
and I don't think it's been successful. But I watched Superman 2 again, and when I saw this, they got it right because James Gunn is from St. Louis. He grew up a comic book, guy, and he has treated the mythology reverent, and then he's added, plus they've added this dog. And anybody who's a dog lover
There you go.
is just going to love little Crypto because
I'm hooked.
he's unruly and they've just added, I think they've just added a lot of touches, and I think Lex Luthor, they've kind of made him a tech billionaire that controls the media and controls politics. And I think that's really a neat way to go there. And then they have Ma and Pa Kent. Martha and Jonathan Kent in Kansas, and they're
We're
older.
showing our age talking about
I
mom.
know,
No.
I
First, in
was like-
fairness, it's before both of our times.
I know. And then who knows who Mom and Pa Kettle is? I remember first time I went to New York, I said to my mom, it was like Mom and Pa Kettle on the subway.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what that is.
Right.
But anyway, getting back to Clark Kent, I like the Clark Kent. David Corenswet. This is a name that we're going to remember because he's got the look of Superman, but he's got the integrity of Clark Kent, and he knows where he came from. And they do a whole thing about how he's an immigrant, like Lex Luthor talks about him as the Kryptonian, like, oh, the Kryptonian, because they don't like him being so noble and kind and decent. And there's a whole conflict about his goodness. They manipulate the news to make it look like he's not a good guy. And everybody's afraid of him now. So basically the whole canceled thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. And I love the Daily Planet. Rachel Brosnahan from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is Lois Lane.
No, she's fabulous. Yeah,
She
she's a great
is.
actress.
And Wendell Pierce from Elizabeth, he's Perry
Fantastic.
White. And it's just really good. It's just they're so busy with breaking news
Right.
that they're always it's just a good portrait, I think, of how they do. I could care less about the visual effects, but it is state of the art. But I just like the direction of this. I like the way it was put together. It's 2 hours and 9 minutes, and a lot of times these movies are just so bloated now. But you got to expect all the flash.
That's a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something we need right now. Kindness.
Lynn Venhouse of PopLifeSTL.com here with us. Okay, so there's a movie going to premiere in October with obvious St. Louis tie here, but there is going to be a advanced screening on July 27th. That is for Soul on Fire from Sony. It is John O'Leary will be present, St. Louisan.
DeSmet grad.
And this really should be must-see TV here. Huh?
Oh, I think
must-see theater.
Yeah, I think in St. Louis, especially, our very own Julie Buck is in it.
Really?
Yeah, Joe Buck's daughter, Natalie Buck, plays a nurse. And
did they have an advanced screening for that? Because I think Julie said she came
July
from
27th.
one.
Oh, really?
She's already
I
had
think
one.
she might have already seen it.
Well, they must have because the trailer's out.
Yeah.
He's played by a young actor named, is it Joel Courtney? I'm pretty sure it's Joel Courtney. And then William H. Macy plays Jack Buck. And
wow.
John Corbett plays the dad. And so the St. Louis Filmmaker Showcase, which is presented by Cinema St. Louis, and it's all these emerging filmmakers. And the final night, Sunday, July 27th, they're showing Soul on Fire, and John O'Leary's going to be there for a Q&A. So it'll be at the High Point Theater, and you can get your tickets now by going to cinemastlouis.com Org. I've already got mine, and I'm looking forward to hearing him. I hear he's a great speaker. I don't know if you've had any contact with him, but everybody just raves about what a remarkable guy he is.
The story certainly is first class.
Well,
no
sure.
question about it.
Yeah, so that's kind of exciting that because it comes out October 10th.
Yes.
So you can see this in advance.
You've got a streaming recommendation that I know about. This just happened to work out this way. This is a movie done differently about the RFK assassination, very differently. It's almost done point of view. It's called Parkland. Some of you may have seen it. It's streaming on Hulu. I've seen it on, I don't have Hulu, but I've seen it on HBO or Showtime or Stars. It's about what happened at the Dallas hospital specifically where JFK was brought after he was shot. And you write that you think it's a gripping account with a good cast. I agree with you. Think about these people: Billy Bob Thornton, Paul Giamatti, Jeremy Strong, who now we know after Succession, Zac Efron, Marcia Gay Harden. And I think it is a very, very, now it's hard to watch.
Sure.
It's gritty. The topic, of course, is awful. But it's a different look at the JFK assassination I think we've been given.
Yeah, because everybody knows the Oliver Stone movie, JFK. And then, of course, if you live through it, you just remember everything about it. And I think this is just such a unique point of view. It's like what happens when the hospital, I mean, that was a day that if you were alive, you will never forget. And this is the first a guy that the Secret Service lost on their watch, and Billy Bob Thornton plays Forrest Sorrells, who was legendary Secret Service guy, and he's just beside himself. And they take him to Parkland, and it just shows the whole chaos of what happens afterwards. Because that day we all watched the news, but we didn't know what was going on at the hospital. So it's very interesting. Paul Giamatti plays Abraham Zapruder, the famous film that caught it on tape.
And he is in conflict. You get the conflict that he experienced in those hours and days afterwards. And I think Paul Giamatti is one of the great underrated actors of our time.
He is. And what's interesting about this film is that the Zapruder family cooperated. And they had never cooperated before about any project. So that's kind of an interesting angle. And then Jeremy Strong plays Lee Harvey Oswald. So, and he's so method. He's got the accent and everything. And there's a good storyline about his brother having to deal with the family fallout. Like when your relative does something horrific and you're just like, what just happened? And so the brother, that's a really good storyline. But yeah, it's streaming on Hulu, and I was so happy because, we always talk about all the new things, but this is something that just kind of fell through the cracks in 2013, and I couldn't understand why more people didn't talk about this movie.
Whose portrayal of Lee Harvey Oswald was better, Strong or Gary Oldman in JFK?
Well, yeah,
because he really looks like Lee Harvey Oswald in JFK. I don't know what they do. He looks exactly like him.
Well, Gary Oldman's kind of like Jeremy Strong. They're so method.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just different. I think because it is a confused guy. It is a.
I guess you see more of the person, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you see the conflicts, like and we still don't know. I mean, everybody thinks he did it, but do we? Do we know this?
Oh well, I thought Jeremy Strong had a very strong resemblance to Lee Harvey Oswald in Parkland. I really do. I thought he was great. And Billy Bob Thornton's portrayal is very it's not over the top, but you get how disgusted he is, and just his life is unraveling because he feels responsible for what happened, and it's only a natural. It's only a natural. He's a great actor.
He is a great actor, and every year he proves it more and more and more.
Oh, my goodness.
And I think all of them do. And Zac Efron, that was a unique role for him because that was after all the High School Musical jazz. But if because
I've been watching Goliath with him, which is a few years old now, but he's great in that. He's been great in Landman. He's been great in just about. And of course, the ultimate role is as Carl in
Sling Blade.
Sling Blade. I mean, it takes you a half an hour to really believe that's actually Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, it is. I mean, he's just, and then his writing is so good too. Well, you being, part of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, don't give me too much credit
Yeah,
there.
well,
but-
in Dallas, like my brother lived there for 20 years, and if you go to the site, there's a big memorial, and you feel that eeriness.
Yes,
and you
I've been
see all the things. So it's still very much an American. I don't know how to say that, but it's just such a
It's
landmark.
a day that still lives in infamy, and there's still so many questions about it. They've not been answered.
Right.
I was born 17 hours, and my mother went through labor while that was happening.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and she was ignored because, understandably, you made the point you'll never forget if you were alive during that day and old enough to remember. My mother certainly has had memories of that, being in labor with me. Our texter, want to know what show we're talking about with Kennedy. It's called Parkland. It's a movie that's streaming now, Parkland.
And it's on Hulu?
Streaming on Hulu. Want to get to, before we say goodbye to Lynn Venhouse for this Friday segment, want to get to the fact that I laugh at this because we were so simplistic in our movie viewing that Jaws is 50 years old this summer.
I know.
Jaws, I was, 10, almost 11. It impacted all of us. We were afraid to go swimming. We were afraid to sit in a bathtub.
You didn't get in the water.
Well, maybe for a day.
Okay.
But
you got to act tough.
That movie, I still think it plays well to me. Particularly the scenes when Quint and Hooper and Roy Scheider, the sheriff, are on the boat.
Oh,
Robert Shaw's performance in that was, I thought, when he starts singing, I had a little drink an hour ago, and it went right to my head. That movie, for me, holds up. Anybody Connor's age just laughs and goes, "What? You paid money to see this?"
Well, I do recall because I was in college and I spent the summer in Bloomington, Illinois, and we went on the second night to see it, and we were terrified. That girl in the water, I don't think you'll ever forget that. But I just watched it about 2 weeks ago when it was the actual 50th anniversary, and I could not believe how well constructed and how well edited it was because they didn't show you like the whole bodies of all the shark attacks, they just showed you like maybe a limb or something, and how Steven Spielberg's perspective was. It was so different, but that suspense. And if you watch the John Williams documentary, too, he played the score for Stephen, and he said, that's it? This da-da, da-da. And everybody remembers that now. And if you remember seeing the movie the first time, when you don't hear the music, that's when you get this huge scare because you're so conditioned. But to watch it again is really revelatory. And so this documentary, it's on National Geographic, Hulu, and Disney+. It is the making of Jaws and how it was a chaotic set, that the shark didn't work. That's why you don't see the shark for a very long time. And you don't notice that till you watch it again. And then how the mayor just like, oh, we need the tourists. And then
he keeps the beach open even though people keep dying. So it's been 50 years. It invented the summer blockbuster, one of the best movies of all time. Are we getting new stuff in this documentary? Like, kind of going back and hearing never before heard or never before seen behind the scenes? Or is it kind of like just a documentary of stuff we mostly know?
Well, I think it's good because it's Spielberg's talking about the shoot and then they go back, but it's a 2-hour documentary. So I think it's really good. It's a good, solid look at it because it isn't surface. I think they go underneath it. But you could tell that Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw and Roy Scheider had a blast on the boat.
Yeah, I bet there was actual drinking going on at that point.
I think there was, yeah. So they have some stories about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just fun to take a look back and see how everything changed. And it still holds up. That's what's remarkable to me.
Yeah.
The other ones, I don't know if you saw those sequels, but they were not good.
No, they were terrible.
Jaws 2 is okay, but
I agree with Connor. That's about the last. It should have stopped. It should have stopped at that point. Lynn Venhouse, we're out of time. That's fantastic to review. A thumbs up. Go see Superman. And if you have some time at home, Parkland's worth it.
Right. And Miller Furniture has extended their half-price sale. So it's through July 13th. So you can get half-off mattresses. You can get a super deal on Tempur-Pedic, those ones that cool now. And it's triple-digit heat, so you want to do that. So you don't want to miss going to Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, or Ellisville to catch the half-price sale because you got to wait till October if you don't.
All right. Lynn Venhouse,
you.
good to meet you.
Yeah, good
and
to meet you,
thank you
too.
for preparing me for what you were going to talk about today. You were fantastic.
Well, you're welcome.
I agree
Thank
with you 100% on Parkland. Coming up, we're going to get our song of the day, our quote of the day from University of Missouri St. Louis. And also, I'm going to play a little birthday game.
Everyone's talking about these weight loss drugs, and it's a good thing we've got Dr. Joe Molesky with us, a St. Louis native and board-certified primary care physician. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
The magic cure is these weight loss shots. They're injected once weekly. They're not like the old medications that you've seen 20, 30 years ago. These medications actually work. They're injected once weekly, and patients see within the first 90 days 10 to 15 pounds down. It simply works, and that's why I recommend it to all of my patients. You simply go online, book an appointment, you fill out a health questionnaire form, you get an appointment on our schedule. It's all telemedicine based. It's all done from your home, and then you meet with me or one of my nurse practitioners, and then after the 10, 15-minute consult, the medication is delivered right to your door discreetly, and you get started right now on your weight loss journey.
And you want to start to lose weight? None better than to call STLMedWeightLoss.com and ask Dr. Joe. STLMedWeightLoss.com.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
You can count on Cantor. I'm Mark Cantor. When I was 12 years old, I witnessed my father, a pediatric doctor at Cardinal Glennon Hospital, suffer a terrible accident when a large and defective battery exploded in his face. My father went into shock and had to undergo emergency surgery to save his life. While my dad recovered, he hired a lawyer who promised that no one else would be hurt by that company's product, and he filed a lawsuit to make sure no one did. I love my dad, and what he went through inspired me to become a lawyer and to start Cantor Injury Law. Like my father, I serve the St. Louis community, and I have done so for over 30 years. You can count on Cantor to treat you like family, to understand your case and your injury, and to fight for you. You can count on Cantor to help make things right. Visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or find us on Facebook or call us at 314-628-9999. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision, should not be based solely upon advertisement, so call Cantor.
Travel iconic Route 66 to Springfield, Illinois. Experience one of America's most beloved presidents, Abraham Lincoln. Explore historic Route 66 that runs throughout the city. Discover vibrant arts and architecture, including the Illinois State Capitol and Frank Lloyd Wright's Dana Thomas House. You can snap a photo as you check out attractions including the Route 66 mural and Wayside Exhibit Trail, Cozy Dog Drive-In, and the Legends Neon Sign Park. Start your exploration today at visitspringfieldillinois.com.
Carney, Buck.
Friday on the show, we try to get through without Maximilian, but comedian John Caparulo will be with us.
So we'll definitely have some giggles on the show. Also, Tom O'Keefe takes us to the movies. Look at the bird. It's a plane. It's John Carney.
So are we giggling because we got a comedian in or because Max isn't here?
I don't know. Ponder that until the next show. It starts at noon.
See you then.
John Carney, Julie Buck. Weekdays at noon on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Want a song?
Surround my mind like the sun on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back. The Frank and Jill Show. Steve Savard with you. Connor McCarthy is my co-pilot today. We are about to embark on our song of the day, quote of the day, brought to you by University of Missouri St. Louis. Song of the day comes from 1975. Let's play it, and I'll tell you why it's relevant today.
She promised you heaven. Will you ever win? She is like a cat in the dark, and then
50 years ago today, Fleetwood Mac released what's known as the White Album with that single on it. Rhiannon, obviously, performed. 50 years ago today. That LP produced 3 top 20 songs. Rhiannon, Say You Love Me, Over My Head. It's interesting. Fleetwood Mac, I grew up, they were right in my wheelhouse growing up, okay? And I always liked them, but I never really gave them a lot of thought. The person that I know who is the biggest Fleetwood Mac fan in the world is Bob Ramsey.
Is he really?
Oh, he's
I'm gonna
massive.
have to mention. I'm gonna have to see
massive.
if he knows that this is the anniversary.
Oh, I'm sure he knows all this stuff. And a few years ago, I was wondering, why aren't I bigger? I have become, not just because of Rammer, but I've become this massive Fleetwood Mac fan. For me, they're up there with like the Eagles, a similar type career. So many hits over so many years, and some a lot of volatility within the band, a lot of broken,
I think
relationships.
I think that drove the music in a lot of ways. They had a lot of good music, probably because of all the strife.
Can't argue. For a lot of people, Stevie Nicks is the preeminent voice. For me, it's Christine McVie. I just happen to like the Lindsey Buckingham, Christine McVie songs a little better than Stevie Nicks. But I recognize what's interesting is the band recruited Lindsey Buckingham, but it had to be a package deal. They didn't want Stevie Nicks. As it goes, he refused to join without Stevie. They were romantically linked, and they had their own band. I think it turned out to be a pretty good decision by Mick Fleetwood, and if Christine McVie had anything to say about it, to bring on both.
I mean, at a certain point, the members everyone knew weren't even Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
Like, they were kind of like, they weren't even really thought about anymore. It was like it was the different band.
What's interesting, though, is much success as they had, and this surprised me, they only had one number one hit.
It's funny how that works sometimes. Different band, different guy, different kind of genre in a lot of ways, but David Bowie didn't have a ton of chart success. In fact, a lot of people, like, if you go on Spotify now, his most played song is Heroes. You know the song.
Wow, that wouldn't even be on my list of David Bowie songs.
But it's his most played. If you go online now, it never charted.
Yeah.
At the time. It's just one of those things. Sometimes it's interesting to look back.
Well, Dreams was the number one hit, the only number one hit on Billboard they had. That was released in 1977. Again, that's Stevie. First act, however, to have 4 top 10 hits from the same album, that Dreams album, 1977. The Beatles didn't do it at that time. Nobody had done it. 4 top 10 hits in the same album. They were, and that's the Rumors album in 77. Go Your Own Way, which is my all-time personal Fleetwood Mac favorite. That never made it higher than number 10. Don't Stop, which is number 2 on my list, made it to number 3. And You Make Lovin' Fun, Christine McVie, number 9. We lost Christine McVie about 2 years ago. I think one of the great voices, female voices of all time in music.
Absolutely.
So that's a little bit about Fleetwood Mac. What they have, for me, they're like, I mentioned they're like the Eagles. Most people point to the Eagles' success and they'd say Don Henley songs. The songs that I'm a Glenn Frey guy. Always have been a Glenn Frey guy. So I tend to like those songs, and I tend to like the...
Not Joe Walsh, though?
Not really.
Not as much?
No, I like them all. Don't get me wrong.
Those are my favorite Eagles songs. The Joe Walsh ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Go Your Own Way, Don't Stop. The Chain is another one, and Everywhere. I know I could lose my man card saying I like Everywhere, but I think Christine McVie's...
I think it's all right, Steve.
I think Christine McVie's voice in that is just absolutely unbelievable. So there you go. 1975, 50 years ago today, the White Album released by Fleetwood Mac. Quote of the day. This has always been my favorite quote, and it relates really to sports, but it specifically for me, but it can relate to all things in life. It used to hang in our locker room. I didn't know the history of it in college, my locker room in college. It is a version of it has been attributed to Vince Lombardi, but it is the will to prepare to win is important as the will to win. Everybody wants to be great on Sundays. You better be great. You better be working Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
You want to be great on Friday night playing football? You better be good in the weight room Monday, Tuesday, and practice on Wednesday and Thursday. I think it applies to a lot of things. And I've always, nothing's come easy for me. It's always been about work ethic. So I like that one. And here's another one, totally unrelated, that I've always found great. I always find this one great. And you've heard this before. Everybody's heard this before. Better to remain silent than to be thought a fool, and to be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt.
I like that one. I've always liked that one.
You know what? I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah.
You strike me as a guy that would like that one.
Yeah, I give off the vibe.
That you don't suffer fools gladly.
Yeah, I like to think so.
That's honesty. That's honest.
Yeah.
That's fair. Landslide. Somebody's weighing in on our text line. Landslide.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
That's a great one. There are so many you can mention. And if you have some, our text line, we're going to get to text in a few minutes before we sign off and hand things over to John Carney and Julie Buck. Our Royal Banks of Missouri text line, 84126. We'll try to get to your text later this hour. Right after the break, we're going to play a little birthday game. Connor ate my lunch when I was with Rammer last month.
This really, I didn't realize this.
Well,
this
it does
ate at
because
you
you're a
this
kid.
much.
You could be you could be my son chronologically and then some, and then you knew all these 70-year-olds, how old these people were. So I'm going to test you, and I got a couple of birthdays tied to St. Louis, and we'll talk about that next on the Frank and Jill Show here in the Big 550 KTRS.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
We've got some July summer sizzle in the forecast today as we push the temperature up to about 96 this afternoon. And with humidity fairly high, I think the heat index will top out around 102. Be careful out there. Meanwhile, a spot thunder shower possible, but odds are pretty low, only around 20% that you actually get wet. Overnight tonight, though, we'll be watching some weakening thunderstorms coming in from the northwest. I think these things taper off and eventually die off completely somewhere in the listening area, down to 75 for the low. But then another batch of scattered thunderstorms develops Saturday afternoon, so not an all-day rain here, but let's be ready for some wet weather. Not as hot tomorrow. Saturday's high at 90. About a 30% chance of rain and storms on Sunday with a high of 87. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
For all of your travel needs, you go to the best travel agency in the world. Granted, I'm a little biased. Altair Travel and Cruises. They'll take you wherever you want to go in style. They'll handle all the details. You handle all the fun. Don't go to the Googles. Don't make that mistake. It all starts at Altair Travel and Cruises on Brentwood Boulevard, 314-968-9600. Anywhere you want to go, let Altair Travel take you. AltairTravel.com.
You're finally ready to renovate your home. Riverbend Kitchen & More is your BBB accredited project partner that is attentive and responsive to your vision from concept to completion. Riverbend specializes in kitchens and baths, but also bars, bookcases, cabinetry, countertops, and more. They work with homeowners, contractors, and developers. Proud supplier of Waypoint Living Spaces cabinets, as well as other quality cabinetry lines. Financing is available, conveniently located in Soulard, Alton, and Mascoutah. Call 314-314-7411. Online at riverbendkm.com.
Are you old school or are you new school? Doesn't really matter, because if you need a hardware store, where do you go? Schnarr's Hardware, and their two locations, East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and of course their world headquarters on Clayton Road. You see, Schnarr's Hardware is one of those places where you walk in and you say, this thing broke off my toilet. Do you have one of these? Yeah, follow me. And they take you in the back and you pass 19 different aisles of things that you wish you could stop and look at. And do you need a 3-inch or a 4-inch? I think I need a 3-inch. Great. I'll buy two and I'll bring the other one back. That's why Schnarr's Hardware has been so successful. It's the customer service and the attention to detail. Whether you need fertilizer or whether you need something for the kitchen, maybe you need something for the big green egg. Two locations, one great hardware store, Schnarr's Hardware. And yes, the popcorn is always free, as well as the smell, because it smells like a hardware store. East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and on Clayton Road in Ladue, Schnarr's or schnarrs.com. We'll see you there.
Got gold? Get green at Jewels on Hampton. Jewels on Hampton pays the most for your precious metals, jewelry, gems, currency, antiques, and collectibles. Jewels on Hampton buys precious and semi-precious gems and stones, scrap gold, and sterling silver. Jewels on Hampton buys and sells paper money, wristwatches, and pocket watches. They even take pianos and cars. To sum up, bring your gold chains, bracelets, rings, coins, dental gold, and more to Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis. And get green. Online at jewelsonhampton.com.
The University of Missouri St. Louis offers academic programs at the undergraduate, graduate, doctoral, and professional levels to fit any passion, purpose, and schedule. At UMSL, More is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
The Bomarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, schedule an appointment, and more at Bomarito.com.
All right, welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show. Steve Savard, pinch hitting today. Connor McCarthy alongside. Got to make a correction. I said the White Album. I know that was the Beatles' famous album. The 75 album was self-titled. It was the Fleetwood Mac album. And Dexter was about to lose his mind with me, but he was respectful.
To be fair, there were a lot of albums in those days
called
that were just kind of the color. It was just kind of, and then self-titled.
That's
so the
what
Beatles,
I read was
yeah.
some people refer to it as the White Album, but he is correct. It was actually titled Fleetwood Mac. We're going to get to some birthdays here, play the birthday game. I got one to start with and end. I'm going to bookend with ties to St. Louis, one with indirect ties and one with direct ties. So this Carolyn Wozniacki, former tennis star. Are you familiar with her?
Tennis player.
Yes.
A little bit. I'm worried
married
I'm not
to
gonna get
David
this right.
St. Louis and David Lee, who is famous for playing in the NBA, being a great rebounder. Chaminade graduate. By the way, how about Chaminade College Prep, the NBA pipeline they've produced between Bradley Beal, David Lee,
Tatum,
and Jason Tatum?
It's a lot for one.
You think?
I'd see David Lee in the Clayton Center in the offseason when I was a kid, and he never missed, ever, 3-point shot, ever, and that's why I realized that these guys are different than us playing. Even though you'd never see him take a jump, like a deep jump shot in the NBA, he never
really
missed.
nice. He wasn't a superstar, but he was on that next level of.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he made I think $50 million in his career. How old is Carolyn Wozniacki?
How old is she?
Now she retired pretty early in tennis.
Oh,
Remember,
God.
she's a Grand Slam champion, number 1 in the world at one point.
Well, how old is he? She's 41. No, I'm way off.
35.
Okay. Wow, she retired really young.
She did really retire young.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Rapper Lil Kim's birthday today.
Lil Kim. Before my time, but she was big in the kind of the late 90s. 45. Going back to 45.
51.
I gotta anchor it somehow.
51.
See,
before your time.
See, it was a fluke the last time I did this with you.
You ever watch the Comedy Central roasts?
Sure.
They had, for Justin Bieber's roast, they had Ludacris on the dais, and I forget who it was. It was Pete Davidson was up there. And so he's, you know how they hammer all the people that are on the dais. And in saying to you, it was before my time, he said, Ludacris is here. If I was my mom, I'd be really thrilled. If I was 38 and my mom, I'd be really thrilled. Yeah. The actress Lisa Rinna, you familiar with her?
Sure, yeah.
Soap opera actress, married to Harry Hamlin, the actor, but probably in the last 15 years best known for being a cast member of the Best Housewives of, this one is either Orange County or Beverly Hills.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. But an accomplished actress.
You're hitting me with some hard ones.
What do you think? I had to do this.
You like we're digging deep for a day.
Well, no, it's just a run of the luck. Who's born on this day?
You probably saw yesterday. Oh, he's going to know these.
I threw those out.
How old is she? 58.
62.
Okay, I'm getting closer. I'm reining it in.
The actress Celia Ward. You familiar with her?
I don't think I am, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
69, born in 1956. And, well, this is way before your time. Well, it's not even worth mentioning. He's not alive anymore.
Okay.
Yul Brynner was born on this day in
This is
1920.
like if he was still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And this one isn't either, but this is the St. Louis tie. If Leon Spinks were alive. Do you know Leon Spinks?
I know the name.
Boxing great.
Yes, okay.
Part of the great Olympic boxing team, U.S. boxing team in 1976 in Montreal, gold medal winner. Then delivered a seminal moment for us St. Louisans in 1978 when he upset an aging but still legendary Muhammad Ali on an ABC primetime event.
Well,
a fight from New Orleans. I was a teenager at that time. I don't remember 3 or 4 nights feeling more pride of being a St. Louisan the night that Leon Spinks upset Muhammad Ali.
If he fought in the 70s, he must have passed away a little young, because normally boxers fight at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, if he had been 75 today?
You were pretty close. That's good. He'd have been 72. Okay. He passed away in 2021 at the age of 67.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame how that works with those kind of athletes, the combat sports. It really takes a toll, and you can tell.
Yeah, and Michael and Leon had tough upbringing in St. Louis, very tough. I believe in the old Pruitt-Igoe housing complex, but he delivered a night and a moment for St. Louis that I'll never forget. It gave me goosebumps when I was halfway through the fight. I kept thinking Muhammad Ali was going to turn it on, and I think he was in his mid to late 30s at the time, and probably didn't take that fight as seriously. And I'm not undercutting what Leon Spinks accomplished, because he vaulted to fame at that point. Anyway.
So, I mean, there's been World Series since then. There's been the Blues winning Stanley Cup, which for you is probably, I mean, considering how big of a hockey guy you are.
Yeah.
I mean, is that to surpass the Leon Spinks
No, I wouldn't say that, but at the time, remember, I was
Okay.
At that time, in 78, I didn't have any memories of any Cardinals World Championships. I remember the 68 series. They lost.
Yeah, the 70s, the Cardinals weren't very good.
Well, no, and then the one year in 74 when they had a chance to win the division, a pass ball by Steve Swisher. We're getting into the weeds in the sports discussion, but the one time they could have made the playoffs that year, bad things happened somewhere else in a game that cost them. The 70s were dry.
For St. Louis in general, yeah.
Yes, but specifically for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 82 turned around with Whitey's team. But at the time, that was one of those, man, I'm so proud to be from St. Louis. Leon Spinks just beat Muhammad Ali. It meant a lot. Maybe some others, too. We're going to get to more text when we come back in our last segment here in the Frank and Jill Show. I already mentioned that I've tried to correct myself on the Fleetwood Mac self-titled album. Your cred just dangling there. I'm not sure what that was in for me. Maybe it was just my taste.
I don't think
maybe it was my taste in music.
Need to, don't beat yourself up too much.
Oh, I'm not.
The cover of the album is
it's okay.
white. Yeah,
it's all right. Make mistakes. These are obviously music aficionados. It's okay. Still respectful. All right, Connor McCarthy with Steve Savard here on the Frank and Jill Show. We will get to more of your texts coming up right after this break.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
For a whole new swing at fun, visit Edwardsville's Park North Golf Club, an entertainment venue packed with fun for families and all ages. With 40 TrackMan technology golf bays, you can show off your long drive, dial in your yardage, or play interactive games with the kids. You can challenge your friends on the 18-hole championship putting course. Hungry? Scotty's Sports Bar and Grill is the perfect place to catch your favorite game, enjoy a locally inspired meal, or cool down with a beverage after golf. Park North Golf Club has fun for all. Find out more at parknorthgolfclub.com and experience golf in a new direction.
Appliance Discounters has another showroom, this time on Gravois Road, right next to the little Dairy Queen that's been there for ages. This showroom is different. It's packed with name brands, GE, LG, Bosch, that are slightly dinged, one-of-a-kind, or closeout items direct from the manufacturer. They all come with the factory warranties and all the factory rebates. You want huge savings at big discounts, theappliancediscounters.com. To find the one nearest you, including the one on Gravois Road in Afton, theappliancediscounters.com.
Andy from Hats and Stuff. The great deals continue on Cardinals, Blues, City SC, Mizzou, and so much more. Something for the entire family.
And the summer concert schedule is heating up, and we have a huge selection of cowboy hats for just $19.99.
Located at Westport Plaza, across from the Drunken Fish and the Kobe Steakhouse, or 24/7 at hatsandstuff.com and the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays. Hats and Stuff. Good stuff at really great prices.
Hats and Stuff. Hats and Stuff. Hats and Stuff.
Hi, it's Martin Kilcoyne for my friends at Triad Bank. Triad Bank is a big sponsor of the Big 550 Shop Local. Shopping local provides jobs, services, and taxes for our local communities. My friends at Triad Bank encourage you to shop local whenever possible.
How did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you. All of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Malcolm is a listening learner, so he checks with Babbel's speech recognition to be
Precio.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Hi, Matt Kearns, president of St. Lou Fringe. Our festival is St. Louis's stage for new works. Grab a festival pass and meet me August 11th through 17th at STL Fringe Fest 25 to see great dramas. Sex educator, writer, and performance artist David Wraith joins Fringe to deconstruct his racial, sexual, and gender identity through the lens of his complicated relationship with his late mother in a powerful new show called Mommy Issues. It's a must-see. Grab passes and tickets for STL Fringe Fest today, and I'll see you at the Fringe. STLFringe.org.
Kuna Food Service has been the trusted food supplier in the Midwest since 1918. For over 100 years, Kuna has been distributing the highest quality food products to some of your favorite restaurants while delivering superior customer service. When a restaurant puts their trust in Kuna, they get a team that truly cares about their success. Check them out online today at kunafoodservice.com.
I almost hate to cut in and interrupt that voice.
I know.
For many Fleetwood Mac fans, that is the song. You could let it play. That's right.
yeah.
Probably would be a better segment. Yeah, that's true. Steve Savard with you, along with Connor McCarthy. Final segment here on the Frank and Jill Show before we turn things over to John Carty and Julie Buck at midday. 3 days here have gone by very fast. I want to thank Connor. Six shows I've done here at Big 550 since May, and you've been in the co-pilot seat every one of them.
Yeah, and I think for at least two of those, it wasn't the way it would be normally, but someone else was out, so I was filling in on that show as well. So
yeah,
you're gonna have to learn to work with Carl. No,
man.
he's great.
I know he is. We're just having fun. We're just having fun with him earlier in the show, but he does look sketchy to me. Getting back to some of the texts we didn't get to. I could be just.
There was a few about the stadium.
Yes, taxes every year. These millionaire and billionaire owners need to pay the bill. Not someone like me who still has a side hustle job in parentheses. Yes, I have. It's in reference to the state of Missouri trying to help out the Chiefs in a rebuild for a stadium to keep them in Missouri when Kansas is trying very hard, lobbying very hard to get them to cross state lines. The good news for Chiefs fans is there is no danger of them losing the team from the area. A house almost paid for, a car paid for. I travel pretty much where I want to. Been in 33 countries. I don't think they're a big fan of welfare for billionaires.
We didn't get really any text supporting the idea.
Not a surprise.
Which is not a surprise.
Our own money on your teams who have made you uber rich. That was a message to not either one of us, but to the NFL owners and to sports owners in general, billionaires that are looking for as much help as they can get. I really appreciate the folks checking in, saying good to hear your voice again. Appreciate it. Here's a text about John Kelly, the Blues situation with John no longer calling games on TV. I can't understand why they didn't keep John. No, it's a difficult decision to have to be made when you're restreaming, but it's about revenue. And he'll be missed for sure. And if you missed my segment opening the show, nothing but humongous respect for John as a person and also as a broadcaster. There's some people reacting to me talking about drivers in Springfield and in general. Springfield, there are a lot of great things about Springfield. But Springfield is compacted. They didn't lay out the city. It is bounded. 80% of the traffic is in a corridor bounded by 2 arteries that run east and west and 3 that run north and south. Glenstone among them. Glenstone, Battlefield, Sunshine. And in the center of that, traffic at the wrong time of day for a town the size of 160,000 moves at a snail's pace.
Really?
You really don't have any what you would consider on the highways down there. Traffic, even drive time traffic, rush hour. But the way the city's laid out and the fact that there are a lot of people that drive 10 miles under the speed limit.
On the highway.
Not even on the highway.
Just kind of
not
around.
necessarily in the highway. On the highway, everybody stays in the right lane and you can't get on the highway.
Wow.
In and around town. I referenced yesterday it's home of the 5-second right turn. Somebody writes, need to drive on and drove on Glenstone Avenue in Springfield, St. Louis. Traffic was a breeze compared to that.
Well, what I'll say with St. Louis and it really every city bigger than St. Louis is I prefer dealing with kind of the city drivers than kind of the people that don't drive in the city, the overly cautious. I'd rather have, when if you're driving in like Chicago, it's all aggression, you're swerving out to taking a right or taking a left or hitting the gas to try to hit a spot. I'd rather deal with that than the overly slow and cautious driver.
Both can be dangerous.
Both can be bad.
There's a reason they
Both can
post
be
a
bad.
minimum, too, on the highway,
Yes.
too. You've got to merge. You've got to give people a chance to merge.
Right.
You're not supposed to ride in the right-hand lane through on-ramps.
Yeah.
And if you are, be conscious of it. Here's someone who writes, I grew up in southwest Missouri. When I moved to St. Louis 57 years ago, thinking I grew up in a rural area, many asked if St. Louis driving bothered me. Yeah, I mean, you can poke fun of drivers anywhere.
Well, in Springfield, it's not a rural area. There's a lot of people there. But from what you've said and from what I've seen a little bit down there, only visiting, the drivers are a little less aggressive than in the larger cities.
Less aggressive?
Yeah.
They're barely alive.
I'm putting it kindly for them.
Yes, you are.
I'm putting it in like
You know what? Here's the thing. Springfield, for me, was an easy transition, and I knew it would be. It's where I live in Northeast Springfield, Hickory Hills area is very much like living in West St. Louis County. I don't need much. If you give me a good gym or two to work out at, you give me a golf course where I can play and practice, I'm good. I would say the two things that bother me the most are food choices, not having enough of them, not having enough healthy food choices down there, and the driving. But overall, was it a livable city for me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have nothing. Here's the thing. You can't find anybody that didn't go to school down there. I was recruited to play down there and thought I was going to end up there, and it didn't work out at the last minute. But then it was Southwest Missouri State. You can't find anybody who either went to school there or their kids go to school there who don't love the place.
Yeah, I've got some friends who went down.
What do
there
they say about it?
Great.
Yep.
They loved going there for the Missouri State. And
well, think about this. You're in a town. If you're going to college, it's a college town because there are other colleges too. There's Drury, there's Evangel, there's Ozarks Tech. But you're in a town of 160,000. Brother, that's different than where I went to school in the Nottoway Empire, Nottoway County, Maryville, Missouri, town of 10,000, school of 5,000. Now, I loved it. We made our own fun, but we didn't have the choices. We had Taco John's and McDonald's. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but anyway, a town of 160,000 is great. Well, it's been fun, really has been. 3 days here with Connor McCarthy, 2 previous days with Jill Farmer. Great not to work with Frank.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I love Frank.
You ducked him.
I did duck him. They'll be back on Monday. I'm sure they'll have tales to tell you about how Lake Tahoe and scenic Iowa was. Thank you for hanging in with me, Steve Savard, on the Frank and Jill Show. 1,000 thanks to my co-pilot, Connor McCarthy. We're going to turn things over next to John Carney and Julie Buck right here in the Big 550 KTRS.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may